Hi, I'm Devam with Builder Innovator Media, and we're here at the Fall 2024 Pasadena Summit, and we're doing a closer look with On3. So I'll let you guys introduce yourself.
Great. I'm Paul Curtis, CEO, co-founder of On3.
And I'm Bob Beldacchi, COO, co-founder as well.
Yeah. And so to dive in a little bit, we met in Anaheim for the first time, and what was kind of being talked around on the floor was this idea of the trades not being able to keep up with smart home automation, smart construction, and the new innovations in construction. So maybe talking a little bit about that and what goes on in addressing that problem, and especially with On3 as being a solution for that.
Sure. Well, as we work in the industry, one of the big areas we found is that the amount of rework that trades have to do, builders have to do, is a big deal. It's actually about 3% of project costs are lost just in rework, and having your trades come back, redo what they already did. And oftentimes when they do something wrong, it causes delays in the schedule, which affects the other trades behind them and the overall project. So this is a problem in communication. Most builders have what we call written scopes of work, maybe a Word document that details all the things that they're supposed to do. But this industry is changing so fast. You talk about all these new technologies that are coming out. Communicating that to the field is a real challenge. So we developed On3 to be the industry's first frontline knowledge platform that allows companies to store and record essentially their various different processes, all the things they want to do. We use then AI to then convert those into scopes of work and learning programs, verification programs, and we use AI as well to support and double check the field to make sure that they have the knowledge and the competency to do the job right the first time.
Yeah.
And so that's what we're doing. That's the problem we're trying to solve.
Yeah. And maybe let's dive into the process and how that all works. So I'm a big content guy myself and would love to understand how builders work with you to actually establish those content and micro-learning solutions.
Well, I think a couple ways, right? So, when you talked about home automation a little bit back, just go back to that a little bit, is that's moving so quickly and so fast that your field level teams don't really understand it as quickly as it's being deployed. And so one of your challenges in this rework that Paul talked about, this 3%, that comes into play where if things aren't being handled correctly out in the field, then homeowners are getting into their home, they're not working properly, teams have to come back out, they have to rework them. And because that technology is updating and moving so quickly, you do have this issue surrounding that final customer satisfaction challenge that we have. So the way we work with them is we basically will work with either the building product manufacturers themselves, and we'll actually help them generate and develop those scopes of work. We then put them in the hands of the frontline construction worker, teaching them the differences between the right and wrong of the home automation or whatever other thing is happening within the house. And by giving them that tool and that information, we're arming them with education and materials that give them that expertise and that they feel confident in their roles and their jobs. And by doing that, we're solving a couple of different issues. One, we're making sure the home is getting built properly the first time, and thus trying to avoid some of that 3% rework that's coming through, which is costing real money to not only the home builder, but also to the consumer. And then the second thing we're doing is we're basically giving those home builders teams the confidence to stay in their jobs. And so we're actually working with teams to actually improve their retention, bring new people on board, train them faster and quicker, and really create a stickiness to the industry for teams and people that the industry desperately needs because there's such a shortage.
Yeah, and we're also informing consumers too with the same process, so that builders can not only educate their trades and their front lines, but also be able to educate their consumers on how products work, how do they maintain them, if there's an issue, who should they call and how should they handle that? All those issues we can provide.
Yeah. And so how do you address accessibility? And that could be from the aging workforce and bringing in new employees. That could be different languages as well, having people from different backgrounds being on the job site.
Yeah, so when you record it in English, we then can bring it back in 64 languages back to the client, so that they basically, if they have somebody who speaks Russian, or maybe it's Korean or whatever, Spanish or Portuguese, which are very common languages, by the way, in the trade base, they able to pull that up right through On3. It's super easy, and they don't have to know the language. We do all the work for them.
Yeah. And I know I can already know the answer to this, but how easy is it to get started with On3, and how much time does it take to actually implement the service within to the building company?
We can onboard clients in as quickly as 30 days or less. And the reason is that we already have an established library of content. So we do what's called a construction review meeting with our clients, and they can go and we'll work with them and review what they're building, where they're building it, because building codes and location matter, and then what products they have. And then we can pull from the library programs that match. So they can easily pull from that library and deploy quickly. The other part of it is that they can use On3 Create, which is a record tool. Basically, they can go out there in the field with their cell phones. They see something that isn't right, or maybe they see something that is installed correctly. They can record that process, or maybe with the trade while they're doing it, record that process. And then we'll turn that into a scope of work so that now it becomes formalized in their system. So, traditionally in this business, most builders have a ton of pictures and videos. They usually end up in a PowerPoint somewhere and they present at a production meeting, and then they're kind of lost and forgotten. With our system, we're memorializing that. We're creating a learning program with testing and verification, and we're translating all that into multiple languages so that it's always there.
And I think that's really what's attractive of the process and the platform itself, is that we've turned the most difficult part of the process and we've made it easy. My background is, in sales and marketing. I had over 200 sales reps out in the marketplace and 85 locations. Creating content was next to impossible because you had to hire people, you had to go out and kind of understand script right, you had to figure out talent. We manage all that process for the builder. And so when you talk about the onboarding and the getting started, we take all the excuses away of the lift, and we basically do it for them as we make it as easy as possible to actually create an online learning platform for them in the field that focuses on the construction manager and deploy it in less than 30 days, where it's fairly turnkey, customized, and with local content, is why we've been successful with it.
Yeah, what Bob's alluding to too is that we also have a production team. So while they have the DIY app, then any production manager can be assigned, given access, and now their videos would come in. Those get vetted by the internal builder team, and then if they approve it, then it would go on to On3 and get memorialized and work through the platform. We also have the on-site team. So if the builder's like, we're not really comfortable putting our guys out there filming stuff, we'll drop our film teams on the ground in their locations, and we're expanding those film teams now in all the major markets. And so they can just make a quick phone call, and they'll be on site, they know what to do, and they'll help a builder record scopes and processes, get it done.
No, I think that's huge. So a big thing we talk about with Builder Innovator Media as well is you can get an outside media agency, you could get a marketing agency, they'll do a great job. It will probably also be pretty costly. Yep. But at the same time, they're looking at it as messaging based off of what you tell them. And a lot of times in this industry, it's the details, the nitty-gritty details behind the surface of just knowing the industry, knowing what you're talking about, that can end up shaping the content a lot more. So it's really cool to hear that you have on-site teams, because getting production done from someone in the industry who has the capability of high production quality is very different from trying to get your own team to then also tell a marketing agency or tell a media agency that works in all industries what you're looking for. I think that's huge. And do you have any, I guess, like case studies or interesting stories from builders you worked with that have really, this has really impacted their bottom line or the people that they work with?
Absolutely. Well, for one, if you do this 3%, it doesn't sound like a lot, but let's do some math. So for every 1,000 homes, that's $21 million that's just essentially lost. And so we're seeing our clients now to reclaim not just 6 figures, but 7 figures in their build process. And this comes from tightening down the schedule. We have clients that are chopping now. One client is over 60 days reduction now in the build cycle, which is absolutely amazing. I didn't even know there was that many days you could take out of the build cycle, but through this process, they've really become much more efficient. And we have other clients that are seeing their warranty costs, their failed inspections go down. Bob, I know you track this a lot closer too, and you've helped put together some of these ROIs.
Well, absolutely. And we've also seen customers mitigate potential issues. And they've done it because they've been out in the field walking a project. They see something that's in the plans that isn't correct or actually is going to cause future issues. And they'll stop right there on the spot. They'll record a video of the issue. They'll explain what the issue is. They'll explain what the solution and the fix is. they'll send it to us for processing, and then we push it out to their teams. And so in some cases, it could be 3,000 employees getting the scope of work to tell them, hey, this is a potential issue. It's in all of our communities. It's in this particular plan. Here's your solution to it. And by mitigating that, they basically then save themselves sometimes 6-7 figure kind of types of claims. So those are the types of things we've been working on. But more importantly, we're now starting to work with building product manufacturers to bring their scopes of work directly to the builders by kind of employing the On3 way of giving them information. And so those building product manufacturers provide us with their scopes of work. We then embed them into the libraries of their customers that we have mutual customers with. And now all of a sudden our content libraries continues to grow. And those building product manufacturers, if they have a change, we can be a change agent for them. So there's all sorts of ways this tool can be utilized, not just training and learning, but just straight up communication.
Yeah, and we've just launched as well our AI support bot. So now it's more than just a learning and a video, but it's actually an informed AI support, and unlike Amazon Alexa or Apple Siri, and where you can basically say, hey, On3, how many anchor bolts go in this foundation? Or, hey, On3, what's the nail pattern for this sheathing? And it will already have learned the local requirements through the scopes of work and be able to deliver that quickly to those personnel. We also can verify that employees over time to check them in to make sure that do they know the scope of work. Perhaps it's a new product that rolled, or maybe it's the new energy code requirements that are coming out that are changing the way we build. The big question is, does your team have the competency in these new areas, or are they going to make a bunch of mistakes, cost you a lot of money, throw away millions of dollars, and then eventually, maybe get it under control? So with On3, we can short circuit all of that pain and really get everybody up to speed quickly.
And are there suggestions and maybe even utilizing AI of, hey, you went through this course, maybe you should look at this next, or developing some sort of roadmap to take someone from either brand new to an expert, or if someone's coming into the middle of that pipeline, how to get them to that?
We can do a competency assessment right in the app itself, and it doesn't have to be, 300 questions. It's short and pinpointed. It can be spread out over time, but we can sample and see where an employee's at in the process. Maybe they're a beginner, and yes, they start over here, but many, might be 20 or 30-year veterans, which we have lots of those that we are serving today, and they're sent on to do much more higher level advanced work, and they don't have to go into the basics. So yeah, we have that capability, and it's dynamic, instant. So they basically, answer a few questions, and the AI routes them accordingly to where they need to be.
Then one other thing that we definitely have some industry veterans out there and who've been doing this a long time. And if you ask them, do you need help understanding the process of constructing a house? A lot of them would say, no, I've been doing this for 30 years. I've got it. But things have changed so quickly in some podcasts. We talked about home automation and some other things that we know that there are elements that maybe they don't know, and we're going to actually help them teach them. But more importantly, the tool doesn't just stop there with them. They're able to actually manage their subcontractors out in the field through this process by pushing out scopes of work to their field to their contractors to make sure that the contractors understand what they expect. So this is a really powerful tool. Those veterans, where they come to a job site, they see that something's not been installed correctly on a window. Maybe the sill's not correct. They're envisioning a leakage happening down the road. They can push the scope of work out to that subcontractor, document the home that they're on. We're on lot 1, 2, 3 in subdivision 4, and we have an issue. Here's a picture of it. Here's a video of what we're expecting. Now they've documented the issue with the subcontractor, get them back on the job site, mitigate that problem before it becomes a rain leak 6 months down the road. That's what the veterans are loving, because they're actually being able to hold people accountable, because that's what they love to do. And so we're giving them that tool to actually, from an accountability perspective, with their trades as well.
Yeah, that's our thesis that's really been missed in this industry, is that if you have a well-informed project superintendent, construction manager base, they're the eyes and ears of the builder and everybody really on that construction site. If they don't know what to look for, guaranteed you're going to have trades not doing things correctly. But if they know what to look for, now they can become teachers of the trades. And with our tool, we're giving them hundreds, if not thousands, of these video-based micro-learning clips that they can now deploy to those trade crews that are on site. Because often, you got a trade contractor, they read the scope of work, they signed it, but then they send out crew that doesn't understand it, and they have to be retrained right there in the site. And usually that's just done by pointing and verbal, and often they don't even speak the same language. So having this tool basically fixes all of that. Yeah.
So what's on the horizon for On3? What are some new features or new platforms that you may be working on, if you?
Yeah, absolutely. We're excited about our future growth. We're going to continue to expand in AI and bringing AI to the fray about in construction, verifying that we have products installed, that they're installed correctly. All that is a big mystery right now. So if you talk to a builder and say, did you put this product in a home, they say maybe. We ordered it, but we're not sure if it actually made the house. So those kinds of problems we're beginning to tackle here as we move forward.
Well, I think that's it. Thank you guys for sitting down and talking to us. It's been super informative. And if you wanted to get started with On3, where can they reach you?
Well, start at our website. So it's www.on3.ai. So on3.ai. And you can hit our contact us page and we'll basically set up a meeting.
Great. All right. Cool. Thanks, guys.
Thank you again. Appreciate your time.
Appreciate you.